name is Valeria M.C, and my topic is how the lives of women have changed since 1920. It's 1919. Oh, sorry. It is 1919. The 19th Amendment just got passed, and women now have the right to vote. Suffrage. They're considered citizens by government law, and they are allowed to do many more things than they were before. My question is, to what extent has this changed the lives of women since 1920? It has changed the lives of women in many ways, socially, economically, and politically. Some may be for the best, some may be for the worse. The way it has changed socially is, after 1920, many women have started to go against every single societal norm there was for them. This was an example of the flappers. They wore short dresses and had the beehive haircut, things that were considered not normal back then. This was because back then, everyone was conservative. It was considered scandalous to have short hair, to have short dresses, and be dancing in jazz clubs. Not everyone was a flapper. Not everyone worked as a flappers, but it was the first step that women took to change how women was viewed in society. Another thing is women began to do the jobs they wanted to do. Before then, women had jobs that were just her housework, such as taking care of the children, sewing, or normal factory jobs. Women started to take jobs in STEM engineering, stuff that was considered for men. This opened many things, such as gender discrimination. Not many men thought women were capable enough to do stuff like this. When Apollo launched, there were some women. When Apollo 11 was about to launch, there were some women in the mathematics teams that faced harsh discriminations. This was due to the fact that not only were they Negro, but also because they were women. Men didn't think they were capable enough to do the mathematic equations that were needed to launch the rockets. Mind you, they're in a photo at NASA in the middle because they were part of the mathematical team that made it possible to launch Apollo 11. Another thing is social expectations from women made them feel like they had to be the people that was expected from them. If they were to go out of the norms, as you would say today, it would feel like they're going against something that felt taboo. And so they wanted to work harder to prove themselves. Amelia Earhart was one of the people who went around the world by herself. She did this because she wanted to prove that not only men can go and fly a plane around the world, that women can do it too. This was another example of women going against the barriers and going against expectations. There's been some changes politically too. About 44 countries of the 195 official countries have had women as the head of the government. That is 22.56%. Now this doesn't exactly scream gender inequality, but it is improving compared to what it was back then in 1920 when women weren't even allowed to vote. Some women are at the head of the government. 21% of ministers are women in only 14 countries with 50% or more women in cabinets. That is 7.18% of the world have women in cabinets. Yikes. But as time went on, 25% of all national parliaments have women inside. And that's improved since 1955, which was only 11%. This is Violeta Chamorro. She is the first and only president that has been in Nicaragua that was a woman. She served from the middle of 1990 to the beginning of 1970, which is a long term of 6 years. Wow. And economically, it has changed a lot. Women who are less likely to get tenured in academic salaries after their 10 years in PhD. And if they do get tenured, it takes them longer to get a job, to get tenured, than men do. This causes women to be distressed about the jobs and landing one to be able to work. I mean, some promotions, you would have promotions where women who have worked longer in the field be less likely to get a promotion than the man who's worked less in the field, which is kind of disappointing for women. Another thing is academic salaries. Although in 1965, the gender gap in academic salaries were 40%. Today it is 8%, but considering how much money you get per hour, it's still significantly more than men do, which kind of makes women not appeal to economic jobs because they're not getting the same pay as men do. Sure, this is in academic salaries. In non-academic, it has removed the gender gap equality, but it still makes them want to do less. This is a graph showing the differences between men and women getting tenured after 10 years of getting their PhD, with many variables such as journals and proportion teaching, and if they have children or not. Ways to improve a woman's life are empowering women. In stimulus sourced by College Board, Empowering Women Through Sports, they have programs that have helped women learn how to go and be in the world and support them. This is a chart demonstrating how much they've improved from the stimulus. Another thing is, in the company brand Unilever, they have a saying called unstereotyping. This is to make women go against the stereotype, and be who they are. Of course, with limitations, such as we're not gonna go out with naked, But yeah. And another thing is promoting shifts in society through social media. Today, we have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat. We can use these means to be able to encourage women and support them. Some implications of these to conform to societal norms are fears, anxieties, because another thing that happens when you go against the social norm, you might get something called cancel culture. This is the way cancel culture works is that if someone sees something that a whole group of people don't support, they tend to stop supporting the celebrity or popular figure and cancel them per se, kind of like how you would cancel a show that's not liked. This is good if it's against racism and stuff like that, but sometimes it's gone against important topics that need to be learned today. Another thing are expectations. Women are expected to follow these norms, and going against them seems taboo, like I said in the beginning. Another thing is comfortability. Many women are comfortable being how they are because sometimes they don't feel the need to go over and fight for their rights due to how it is. Any questions?
Thank you. I do have two questions for you. How valid and reliable were the sources that you used, and then how do you know?
My sources are pretty reliable because I use them from academic journals, and I did search up some from websites from the government and academic schooling. Plus, one of them that I used was from a company brand that researches about women, and Unilever. They're a company that researches about women and help them to support them.
All right, what advice would you have for other researchers who consider this topic?
For the researchers considering this topic, I would advise them to find more ways to empower women. Because although I did put some ways to empower women, I did not go through all the possibilities there are. And also to consider that empowering women is not just going out there and fighting because you want to fight for equal rights. It's going out there and proving yourself that you can do this.
You're done. You